Hi, if you're a coach, instructor, or presenter, and you have to rely on online events to teach or to carry out your presentation or your speaking engagements, then you must answer some questions before your next online event. My name is Max Quiroz from Max and Ruth Training, and I welcome you to this video. I'm going to share with you our slides so that you can see what are the 7 technical aspects that you must consider before your next online event. And before going into those 7 aspects, there's a question that you must ask yourself, and that has to do with time. And no, it's not how long should your course or program or online program should be. It has to do with synchronicity in time synchronization. When we teach a class in a face-to-face setting, or we teach a course, or we give a presentation in a face-to-face setting, both the presenter and the participant coincide in time and space, because we go to a place in a classroom or an auditorium or a venue where we teach or we give our presentation, and the participants go there to attend our speech or presentation or course. But what happens in an online setting? We might coincide in time, but not in space, because we're not in the same place. We use technology for that. And maybe that's one of the biggest mistakes that we have made during this pandemic and during this online setting that we have to take into account. We try to duplicate or replicate what we do in a face-to-face setting. That is, we tell the students to meet with us through some software or application so that we can teach online with the students present. And what happens when we do this? We start with, please turn on your cameras, don't get distracted, pay attention, and all these things that are associated with teaching in a face-to-face setting, and now they get boosted in an online setting. You can prepare your content, record some videos, and upload them to a platform, to a technological platform, where the students or participants can consume them before going to that live meeting with you through Zoom, Teams, or whatever platform you choose. And then you use the live sessions for solving doubts, exercises, interacting with your participants, and that's what they need, that's what they want, that's what they're expecting. More interaction, not just teaching on our part. So that's question number 1. You have to define the balance between synchronous and asynchronous activities for your online event. And now, aspect number 1 is identifying your meeting platform or tool. As we can see, and this is the live session, you have to define how are you going to interact with your participants. And there's 3 different types or categories of platforms. Some of them are predominantly focused on classes and delivering classes. Others are focused on having meetings. And the 3rd type of platform has to do with sales webinars. There's some examples of each one of the categories. For example, for classes, there's Samba Live, Crowdcast. For meetings, there's Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Hangouts, Skype, FaceTime. For sales webinars, we have Webinar Ninja, Webinar Jam, Live Webinar, WebEx. There's lots of platforms. The important thing is that we try to find the intersections. And you can see when classes intersect with meetings that have been used, you can find Zoom and Teams. And those two are the most used platforms right now, the go-to platforms whenever we're teaching an event online. And when sales webinars intersect with classes, we find Live Webinar that it's a good option for us to use also. So it's important that you define which platform are you going to use for those live sessions in which you are interacting with your students. The second aspect, and this is very, very important, is your internet connection. Maybe it's the most important aspect that you must consider, because a bad internet connection lowers the quality of your online class and you lose your students' or participants' attention. Internet providers tell you that their speed is wonderful, it's very high, but most of the time they're speaking about their download speed. And whenever you're teaching an online live class, you need a good upload speed because you're going to be transmitting video and audio. And if people cannot see you correctly, if you start to freeze online, if you start to the image gets pixeled, what happens? Your participants will start to lose attention and you will lose them for the rest of the class. One important suggestion, if you're able to, use an Ethernet cable to connect your computer to your router or modem. And that way you will guarantee that you have the highest speed available in your online event. Some other aspects that are important here are don't rely on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is subject to interference. And if I tell you the things that might interfere with Wi-Fi, you're gonna laugh. Microwave ovens, cordless phones, ceiling fans, all these can cause interference with your Wi-Fi and they will lower your bandwidth. So don't use Wi-Fi. And also, finally, please unplug all gaming consoles like Xbox or PS5 or whatever console you have at home, because they might download, even if they're turned off, they might start downloading upgrades to the system, and those will consume bandwidth. And also, please ask your family, your friends that you live with, to avoid watching Netflix during your online presentation. Netflix is a bandwidth hog, and it will consume bandwidth greatly, and it will affect the quality of your online presentation. So that's one of the aspects, maybe the most important one to take into consideration. Have a good internet connection. Another aspect that is important, aspect number 3, is the audio equipment that you will be using. Please try to use a microphone. It doesn't have to be a very expensive microphone or a professional microphone. Any kind of microphones, you find most of the audio and video equipment that we're going to be talking about here is right now available very inexpensively. Prices have lowered a lot, have dropped a lot. So it's important that you use a microphone, because the microphone of your computer is not good enough. And Bad audio has the biggest negative effect on the quality of your live casting, of your live transmission. Why? Because if people cannot see you, maybe they can turn off the camera, but if they cannot hear you, they won't pay attention to you. Because if I cannot hear something, I won't be able to understand it. So it's important that the audio be as good as possible. If you don't have a microphone, or you're not able to get a good microphone or a decent microphone for your computer, use the earbuds that you have with your phone, use them with your computer. The microphone is near to your mouth and it will improve the audio considerably. So please use some kind of microphone to improve your audio, and that's one of the key elements. Another aspect, as I was telling you, has to do with the video equipment, and basically that has to do with the camera you're using. A few months ago, you weren't able to find any good webcams on Amazon because demand for them overpassed the supply of the webcams. Right now, fortunately, there's a big supply of webcams. Prices have gone down, so you can get a very good webcam for a low price. And believe me, that's an investment that you should consider. If you're going to keep on doing online events, please invest in a good webcam, because the quality of your video will be improved 3 or 4x compared to the quality of your laptop webcam. And I know everybody asks me, but Max, my laptop has a webcam, why cannot I use it? Because the quality of your webcam is not good enough for online live events. It's passable, but you must strive for the best quality possible. So invest in a good webcam. And it's very important, once you get it, where you place it. Your webcam should be at eye level so that you can see directly to the webcam and make contact with your participants. What happens if it's lower? We get that nose cam, and that's a no-no. Please avoid the nose cam and that lower view of yourself, and that's, please put the camera at eye level. Point number 5, related to the camera, lighting. Don't go buying expensive lamps and reflectors and projectors, light projectors. You don't need them. Use natural light whenever it's possible. The rule of thumb here is you need more light in front than behind you. Whenever you have more light behind you, your face will be dark and people won't be able to see you. And when people cannot see your face, they won't connect with you. So it's very important that you consider this. Move your computer so that you have your windows in front of you, or if you have any lamps or light, use it adequately so you have more light in front and less light behind you. That's the rule of thumb, and that's the key aspect that you must take into consideration. That's aspect number 5. The 6th aspect that I want to comment with you is your presentation tool. And whenever we talk about presentation tools, immediately we think of PowerPoint and Keynote. Those are the 2 most common presentation tools that we use whenever we have to present some content. Maybe Prezi, maybe some other Canva, whatever There's lots and lots of presentation tools. But the question here is, what's the purpose of the materials that you want to present, and what is the best way to present it? Maybe you don't need a presentation. Maybe you don't need PowerPoint or Keynote or Prezi. Maybe you can show an object or present a video. And that's the way to do it. It all depends on what is the purpose that you want to achieve. Define what is the best way to present the information that you want to share with your participants, and based on that, identify which is the best presentation tool that you can use. And similarly, you can think about collaboration tools. For example, you can use Slido, where you can mix your slides and include a QR code that the participants can scan and interact with you, with your presentation in real time, and they can see the results on screen in real time. And then you have a presentation tool and a collaboration tool. And this is very important. This is what you must use when you have your live sessions, when you interact with those participants. They need this, and this is the way to achieve it, through a good selection of collaboration tools. Another tool that you can use is Kahoot. You can Kahoot with them, and they can play, they can have fun, they can interact with you, and they see the results immediately on screen. And that's the seventh aspect that you must take into consideration. I hope that these 7 aspects and 1 question help you define which technical aspects you must consider before your next online event. We really hope that this video is helpful for you. See you in the next one. Have a great day.